as you may have heard, the Central Bank of Nigeria has imposed fresh cash withdrawal limits on individuals and organizations, which will become effective on January 9, 2023. According to a memo issued by the CBN to banks yesterday, individuals will be able to withdraw 100,000 naira per week from over-the-counter point-of-sale machines or automated teller machines, while organizations can access 500,000 naira per week. The memo signed by the CBN's Director of Banking Supervision, Haruna Mustafa, directed banks to load only 200 naira and lower denominations into their ATM. This means Nigerians will only be able to withdraw 20,000 naira per day from ATMs when the directive becomes effective. Well, that will be the focus of today's edition of the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. That's how I welcome you to today's edition of the program. My name is Ginika Olwa. This is what we do every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays here on Flu 94.1 FM. Before we start off on the show, let us take a breather to bring you the political update. When we come back, you meet my guest. Stay with us.
Good morning and welcome to Political Update. I am Wisdom Thomas. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and his running mate, Yusuf Baba Ahmed, have vowed to end strikes by medical doctors and members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities if elected in 2023. Addressing a crowd of supporters at a mega rally in Owerri, the Imo State capital, Obi said with Baba Ahmed as his running mate, they will ensure that power is given back to the people, especially youths and women. He also said job creation, investment in agriculture, and prioritization of exports will be top in their agenda. For the LP presidential candidate, issues of ASU strike, decaying health sector, and corruption will be a thing of the past.
No more strike. We will sit down and negotiate. We will go to the lecturers. Education is serious to us. Education is important. Even if they know the difference between a developed, a thriving, a prosperous nation, and the one that is doing poor is education and health. We will invest in these two. We assure you, we are not going to make fake promise. I am 30. Go and check our background. Go and verify our background. If they tell you they're doing any program here in Abuja, the program does not go to the states. But I will assure you more people. In our government, we will come to Imo State.
The former Deputy Governor of Sokoto State, Mukhtar Shadari, has said that the All Progressives Congress APC has failed Nigerians and its Muslim ticket strategy for the 2023 general election won't get its desired voter turnout in the northern region of the country. He said the Christians in the country, especially in the north, felt insulted when APC decided to go with a Muslim ticket, pointing out that if APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu has a Christian wife, it's only okay for him to choose a Christian running mate and not a fellow Muslim in the person of former governor of Borno State, Kashim Shettima.
Muhammad Buhari is actually a Muslim from the northwest with a vice president from the southwest, a Christian, not only a Christian, but a man of the faith. That is what Nigeria has always been. The Christians in this country, and especially in the north, they felt slighted, they felt insulted when APC decided to jettison that kind of practice. So they simply think that both the Christians and Muslims in this country are stupid. So they decided to come out with Muslim ticket, thinking that the moment they do that, everybody in the northwest, in the northeast, and the rest of the Muslims will jump to it and say yes. But Nigerian people are wiser.
And that is all we have for you on Political Updates. Stay tuned for the platform.
All right, so welcome back to the program. It's all the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. Like I told you, we'll be looking at that CBN policy, which has actually directed that there will be a restriction of cash withdrawal from over-the-counter automated teller machines to 100,000 naira, 500,000 naira per week for individuals and corporate organizations, respectively. Now, I have a financial expert who joins me now virtually. He is the managing director of Cowrie Asset Management, Mr. Johnson Chukwu. Thank you so much, Mr. Chukwu, for joining me on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Okay, that particular policy of the CBN dropped yesterday, and so many people don't believe that it was done in their best interest, especially those ones in the banking sector and even the POS. Within that axis, so many people, even Nigerians, everybody said, what kind of policy is this? But what actually necessitated such moves by the CBN at this point?
Well, I think my perspective is that there are two major factors that are driving that may have informed the decision of the central bank to limit cash withdrawals to 100,000 naira, 500,000 naira per individual, per company, per week.
Okay.
I think one of those factors we must recognize that there's a political undertone in it.
Oh, really?
And that political undertone is driven by the need to frustrate any attempt by politicians to buy votes.
Okay.
That for me, because given that it's coming at the back of the central bank redesigning the currency, the local currency, and setting the time limit of 31st of January for the old currency to cease to be legal tender.
Yeah.
And on the back of that, there's now a policy that you cannot withdraw more than 100,000 naira from the account each individual per week, and 500,000 naira from corporate account per week. And then setting a time limit, effective date for that as January 9th. So if you put those two policies together, you could actually read clearly and loudly the intention of the central bank to frustrate the efforts of politicians whose stock in trade is to use money to induce voters to compromise whatever moral values they have. That for me is one factor. The second factor, which is at the realm of financial inclusion. By making it difficult for people to execute transactions with cash or large volume of cash, you compel people to adopt alternative payment methods, which are already prevalent in the country. Of course, Nigeria is one of those countries with the highest penetration of electronic payment methods in Africa. So you're going to compel more and more people to adopt electronic payment, which will mean that even those who do not have some form of banking relationship will have no choice than to go and establish bank relation with the banks so that they can be able to continue in their businesses, even if those businesses are small and micro, small and medium scale small and medium scale nature. So I think those are, for me, the two strands of thoughts that I assume informed the central bank's decision.
Okay. Now, if you said that actually it's political, especially with the inducement of voters with money, what if now the politician decide to, we won't use naira this time around, we'll go for dollar. After all, many Nigerians will even prefer a dollar. By the time you give somebody dollar, of course, you know what the value will be by the time he exchanges that. Don't you think so?
Well, you will not get that volume of dollar anywhere in the world that will allow you to go and induce 10 million voters or 5 million voters. Take, for instance, you want to give, are you going to give something like $20? Even if you use $20, which is like 15,000 naira today at 750. So you're going to try to go to rural villages and give a currency that may not be recognized. Because if you go to my village, for instance, start giving them dollar, they first ask, what is this? I mean, the old women and the old men in the village will ask, what is it? Where am I going to change it? And it then becomes more difficult because, one, to get that lower denomination of dollars will be difficult for anybody to get. Then if you want to go and give $100, for instance, you must be a trillionaire or a billionaire in dollar to go and give, for instance, $75,000 naira per voter. And that does not guarantee you anything. And it's even more prone to being abused, because the people you may give the dollar to go and distribute may run away with the dollars and don't tell you they will distribute them. So I think in the first place you can't even get that lower denomination of dollars available easily, and the process of distributing that will also be more difficult, unlike if you have access to naira. So I think the option of dollar may be a more difficult option for politicians to induce voters with.
Now, what we'll be wondering, what impact would this have on the naira, especially to ensure it appreciates against dollar? Because every policy of the CBN must get towards encouraging the economy to improve and make the naira stronger against other foreign currencies, especially the dollar. With this kind of moves, do you see naira becoming more stronger against the dollar?
No, it has nothing to do with the extent of the naira. You see, I can tell you for free that naira's value is driven by the level of currency in circulation. And when I talk of circulation it's just not the naira, the physical naira that's in circulation. If you consider the fact that the central bank has been funding the federal government by ways and means, the pressure we're having are coming from three sources. One, the central bank funding of the federal government by ways and means, which is not backed by productive activities. Two, the fact that the currency naira had depreciated against foreign currencies, so you have import-induced inflation, pass-through effect of naira depreciation. Because if you import any commodity at 500 naira, and next 3 months you import the same commodity at 750 naira per dollar. If that you are buying that unit, if you are buying a unit of a product for $1, and 6 months ago it was 500 naira, and now you bought the same product for $1 and the 750 naira per unit, you are going to sell the product at 750 naira plus margin. Is that not so? So it has nothing to do with the fact that the volume of naira you can withdraw is smaller. Then the third factor is the fact that international price of oil has gone up, and we're importing 100% of our oil. The oil price went up because of the war between Ukraine and Russia. So we have effect of the war in Ukraine and Russia coming into the country, affecting the landing price of refined petroleum products, particularly AGO. And AGO, which is what we call diesel, is used for productive activities, what manufacturers use. So if they have to buy AGO today at 900 naira per liter to produce their goods, they have to pass the cost of that increase in price of AGO to you, the average consumer. So we have this, and then the fourth factor could be the fact that we have insecurity in the northern part of the country where food is produced, and because we're not producing enough food as we used to produce, the price of food has to go up because more people want to buy fewer food produced, and they have to bid up the price. Those who are selling will increase their prices because people want to buy more than what they are producing. So those are the four factors that I would say that driving inflation. Is not the amount of money you can withdraw in the bank. I mean, payments, if you look at the payment structure today, the volume of payment that go through the banking system by way of cash or by way of check is far less than the volume of payment that goes through the banking system by ways of transfer.
Okay, this question now may sound somehow, but is the situation we are facing in Nigeria, the issue of banditry, kidnapping, and the rest of them. These particular people, I saw a report where they are saying, of course, that their victims will have to remain with them. So if you are coming to probably bail one of you, if one is coming to bail one of his loved one with as a kidnapped victim, of course, if you don't have the required amount by these people to settle, of course, that means the person will remain there. It's a sad reality, but that is what we have to face at this point. That means many people may have to die, especially those victims over there.
Let me tell you, my take is that kidnappers are not kidnapping unless they have unless those who are hired assassins. Kidnappers are not kidnapping to eliminate their victims. They are kidnapping to extort money from their victim and victim families.
Yes.
So if that assumption is correct, then it then follows that if kidnappers kidnap and get the hotel, they can't get that money, they will stop kidnapping. Because if they kill the first person, money doesn't come. They kill 100 people, money does not come. We don't pray that happens. Then the purpose of their kidnapping is defeated unless they are assassins.
Okay.
And I can tell you, We have a proof of concept. Previously, my brother, in your house, you'll be afraid that Amraba will come and wake you up in the night and come and steal money from you. How many homes did you hear recently that Amrabas went to rob? The simple reason, because if you go to homes, you won't get money.
Okay.
In the past, Amrabas stay on the highway with lay buses, ask them to come out and bring out the money they are with, because those who are going to do trade, people who move from Onitsha to Lagos or from Aba to Onitsha to buy goods, they steal their money on their way. Those highway robbers have vanished. Simple as that, because you will anybody on the road and get money from them. So it also follows that if we implement this as seriously, then it will be difficult for kidnappers to kidnap a spade to ransom to be paid, and that means they will go out of business.
So
because they're not going to kidnapping and killing people when their objective is not to kill people. If you know that you kidnap head or tail, there's no way the family will pay some intention will get that money, because it can be withdrawn.
Now, okay, go ahead.
And then if they have to exercise the option of writing to a bank MD to withdraw 10 million, for instance, the implication is that that money will be planted. They're going to create new money for that, which you can plant them with chips. So once you touch that money, they will arrest you. So I think this initiative will go a long way to curtail the incidences of kidnapping in the country.
Okay, like you said earlier, it's to encourage cashless, the transaction through, before now, you know that the CBN has actually come up with this cashless policy where you have electronic transfer of money and the rest of them. So if that's the case, we already have the issue of a cashless policy. Why are they making it more tight here and very serious for people to even access money? Because immediately that particular news dropped, the national president of Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents of Nigeria actually said that point of sale operators, that's the POS, will plan to protest as the policy was targeted at killing their source of livelihood. What's your reaction to that?
Yes, I think if they need draw back to this policy, it would affect some businesses, like the mobile money, not the mobile money people. Of course, the mobile money people, it will affect them because the volume of cars they need to dispense will be low. Those who operate POS businesses in all the nooks and crannies of the country will be affected because the volume of cars they need to dispense will be low. So it certainly will affect some people negatively. But that's what happens with every economic policy. There's no economic policy that has no negative side effects or people that it affect negatively. But if you look at the larger objective achieved, we're going to have the same country. For instance, I started with the political implications of this.
Yeah. And
it will frustrate the efforts of those who want to compromise voters by buying their conscience. And if at the end of the day we end up with a president who has the capacity and competence to govern well, we're going to create economic opportunities that those who may lose their source of income from operating POS terminals, many of them are actually underemployed, because when you say a graduate who is operating a POS terminal, it's underemployed.
But at least he's earning a living.
Yeah, but the key thing, we need to create an economy where people will use their competencies fully and they will realize themselves to their fullest. And that's what I'm saying everywhere in the world. People are looking for skills. We should upskill. We can't send people to this and jobs that are far beneath their competence. That is because our economy had deteriorated. Now we should focus on right, so that the economy will become buoyant, so that you and I fully, and then we will create wealth, we will create value, realize ourselves fully, and we will be happy. What I'm telling you in the world. You see, for me, it hurts my feeling. I feel depressed when I consider the fact that an average Nigerian graduate will never have the point of buying a new car in his or her life if the person does not commit crime. That doesn't obtain anywhere in the world. New cars are being produced for you and I to buy. We are not going to, the kind of economy we live in today cannot afford those opportunities. So any policy that will lead to the election of competent leaders in the country. And like I said, for me, the two policies that have come up almost back to back are pointing to the fact that the efforts are being made by the monetary authorities to frustrate vote buying. So if that be the case and we end up with a good leadership, in February or sworn in May, I can tell you that whatever we may have, those who may have been negatively affected by this will be better off in the medium to long term, because the economy will become a growth economy.
Okay, so you don't see a situation where criminality may increase with this kind of policy, like if you talked about the POS. If somebody is earning a living using the POS and you are trying to take him out of what he's using to earn a living, don't you think he might want to augment whatever thing he's getting at the moment through crime?
Well, the key thing is this. One of the things I was actually ruminating about the other day in my private moment, that look, technology is going to make violent crimes unattractive or impossible to execute and go scot-free. Technology will eventually eliminate violent crimes. Why that is happening? We've seen technology displace skills and make new skills important or relevant. So what I will always say is that we should have an economic environment that will allow growth sectors to spring up, and then allow people to upscale their skills and pivot to those sectors that are growth sectors. 20 years ago or 30 years ago, 20 years ago, we didn't have a buoyant GSM economy. Today, and we tend to forget that when GSM came into the country, all the people who were working there were expatriates. The first set of Nigerians were recruited from banks, and they were trained. So you have bankers who had some management training that were moved to pivoted to the telecommunications sector. Eventually, today, all the telco companies in Nigeria are being run by Nigerians. We have upscaled and acquired those skills because a new sector came up. Today, we are talking about people who are social media titans. There was no social media 20 years ago.
Yeah.
There was no Twitter handle 20 years ago. There was no Facebook 20 years ago. But Nigerians are making a living from being developing skills and selling on social media. What I'm saying is the fact that people, once the environment is right, people will pivot their skill level, particularly their graduates, and they move to areas where the new skills are required, and they develop those skills. So we shouldn't be afraid of change, because change is a constant. The key thing is that we must be able to adapt to change and then make the best out of it.
Don't you think the banking technology might be overburdened if people with this kind of policy, because that means you have more people in banks queuing up to make one or two transactions, and you know that what our technology is here in Nigeria, sometimes it breaks down. Even the idea of the cashless idea that CBN wants to introduce will even have been defeated, because by the time it breaks down, people can't even make their transaction.
You know, one of the things that happens in life is that when you go to a new thing, you will develop the capacity to support it. Of course, we may have hitches at the onset when more people migrate to electronic payment method, but you don't even need to go to the bank account to do your electronic payment method. With your phone, with your laptop, with your iPad, you can do your payment method. I can't remember the last time I entered the banking hall. Most people don't even have to keep their checkbooks again. Most people don't write checks again. So the reality is that we've all gone electronic in our payment methods. So the key thing for me is that we need to train those who may not have had some form of formal education to be able to use electronic payment methods. So we need to now upscale the skills of those who are currently, because of limited academic exposure, may not be able to use some of these tools that are available to all of us. That for me is what we should focus on. The banks are actually smiling to the banks the more you adopt electronic payment, because they take charges from you and they don't have to physically serve you. You are served by a machine. You don't go to. Previously, we used to. If you remember, when the era of what is your target number? When people have to queue up in the bank to their tellers. But today, nobody goes to the bank empty because people are doing their transfers electronically. I don't think the banking infrastructure will be overburdened. I think what would concern would be the way we have broadband internet access everywhere. I don't think we have done that. But if there's a compelling need which we didn't throw up, I expect that the telco companies will upscale quickly to meet the demands, because at the end of the day, it's service to them and there's income to them.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's all the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion, and we're actually looking at the CBN policy. directing that people should, reduce the amount they have with them. That's that impose fresh cash withdrawal limits on individuals and organizations, which will become effective on January 9. And I've been speaking with a financial expert and the managing director of Kari Asset Management, Mr. Johnson Chukwu. Thank you so much and welcome back, Mr. Chukwu. Now, let us look at the issue of this particular policy and the impact it will have on rural dwellers. This is Christmas, and many people, especially from this part of the country, will come home, and of course they need money and other things. That will be okay. Maybe by now they will still have the old money, but eventually, what will become of them? I mean, the ones in rural areas, in terms if you have to do or give or do other things. How would they now, do this with this kind of policy of the CBN? The impact, that's what we are looking at on rural dwellers, those that are also doing businesses in various villages. How will they cope? Some of them don't know what the electronic transaction is all about.
Yes, when I say that, one of the challenges we have to recognize that we need to find a way of scaling the skills of people who have so much of formal education, who do not use electronic payment methods, cannot use electronic payment methods, we call it educational exposure or formal educational exposure. And that's where the concern should come from.
Okay.
For rural areas, rural dwellers, two things. One, many rural areas may not have 4G network.
Yes, internet,
strong internet access. That's one factor. So the other factor is the level of formal educational exposure. And then the third factor would be the absence of even banks where they can open accounts, where somebody will need to go several kilometers away from their place of residence, this formal financial system. So I think we're going to deal with some difficulties in those areas. But then I also know that the volume of economic activity that take place in rural areas is also highly limited. I can tell you that for free because I come from a rural area, and a few times I had a discussion with the midwife in the maternity ward in my maternity hospital in my village, and she told me that some women that come there to deliver, they only come with 500 naira, and they say that after the market day, their husband will bring the balance, and the amount they pay is maybe 2,500 or so. Okay, so that also gave me an idea of the volume of physical card that actually circulating within the village. During Christmas periods like this, when all of us migrate to the east, those of us from the part of the country, we reinflate the economy of the rural areas, because your uncle comes, you give him 10,000 naira here, you have this, auntie comes, you give 5,000 naira. So that will be a constraint. But the good thing is that this policy will take place after the Christmas celebrations. Yeah. So we're going to support the rural economies, our villages, before the policy takes place. But subsequently, during the Easter and subsequent periods, seasonal periods of celebrations, there will be a constraint. And I think a new system will evolve, probably a card-based, people can actually load card and give to their relations. So in that case, which is why the POS operators may not really be out of business. I think one of the things we created ingenuity of Nigerians, where I can go home and then I can have 10 cards I load from my current account, and then those cards are for limited period, and I can give to my uncles, okay, take 10,000, this 10,000 a year, so they can actually go and make their withdrawals, which the POS terminals will have to provide for them. But I think there are issues we're going to deal with in rural areas. It may not be as overwhelming as one would imagine, because, like I said, the volume of cards that actually circulate in rural areas is also very small. Rarely do you see people go to the rural markets and sell goods to one individual for more than 50,000 naira. What did they say? The cassava, gari, yam, potato, vegetable, and all those things. I'm not saying it won't affect them, but I'm just saying that, look, that impact should not be enough to discard this policy or to overwhelm the benefits of this policy.
Okay, because many people will be thinking that this particular policy is ill-timed, apart from the political undertone, like you rightly pointed out initially, that has a political undertone, because we are suffering. I mean, the economy is suffering right now in Nigeria, and you're bringing up this serious economic policy, which is not even impacting positively on the economy.
Well, that is from the angle you're looking at it. Like I said, for me, which is why when they asked me the reasons, I said the first reason number one for me, my perspective or perception is that it's political. Yeah. And I have also tried to flesh out that the reason for that, why that political factor can actually override the other factors. Because the greatest challenge we have as a country is that we have been saddled with bad leadership.
Yeah.
And if anything will have to be done to enthrone good leadership in this country, even if it comes to sacrifice on the part of the populace, we should be able to take that sacrifice. That, for me, is a more compelling reason why the timing of this policy is clearly politically induced, just like the timing of the new currency redesign is politically induced. If we get the leadership right, the country will bounce back. Our country used to grow at an average of 6.57% per annum. There was a time between 2002 and 2007 when consumer credits were everywhere. If you get a job, a bank will come to you and say, okay, do you want TV? Okay, go and pick the TV, pay deducting from yours. And it happened in this country just a couple of years back. They didn't ask you to come and pay cash. People were buying new cars in this country between 2002 and 2007 from bank credit. And these are young people who just got jobs. And they were not asked to go and bring tons of cash that you have stacked up. They just said, give me your account details, let your employer sign that they'll be deducting this salary and this amount that they're remitting to us. That's you serving the country. That is way to go. That's way to go. And that's, for me, we must get leadership right so that this economy begins to grow. If the economy begins to grow, all the things we consider as concerns and that we are suffering, we shouldn't be suffering. This country has the capacity to grow at 12-13% per annum. We've seen countries that we used to laugh at grow us. Vietnam is a little case. When I was growing up a young man, we used to talk of Vietcom, about the Vietnamese who will load their children with, wrap their children with bomb and throw at American soldiers. We had films that we watched during our childhood of war in Vietnam. But today, if you go to any shop, any Nike shop in the world, the products there are made in Vietnam. The economy has, because of leadership, they got the economy right. Countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, these are countries that we should be running competition. We're all watching the World Cup in Qatar. How is the population of Qatar? So we are not condemned by God to poverty or suffering, but we have gotten wrong with leadership because the political structure is so that they continue to compromise the way they say they have weaponized poverty. Because people are poor, you give them peanuts and you take their conscience and submit them to suffering for the last 4 to 8 years. If this policy will address it and allow us to elect people who have the capacity to govern us well, all well and good, the suffering will go to, inconvenience will go through because of whatever limitation the policy has, will be more than compensated by good leadership in the next 2-3 years.
Will it be right for us to say that politicians actually is our problem in this country, going by this policy and your analysis as well?
Well, I wouldn't say. I would say you have they say it takes two to tango. You have the politicians, you have the citizens. The citizens who do not have the logic of reason to know that anybody who has defrauded you first time, second time, third time. I think this is about the sixth political season we're having, election we're having. Yeah. So how come somebody comes to you and give you 1,000 naira and then buy your vote and you won't see him again? No road, no light, no water, no hospital, no school. And then 4 years after, he comes back with 2,000, you collect again and say, let me collect my own now. I mean, that you also have to a part of the blame. But those who are in leadership position who continue to weaponize poverty will take the larger part of the blame. So it takes two to tango. The politicians have not done well. The citizens have also not responded well with their the way they should do in more advanced societies. And but the key thing is that if somebody comes with the policy that will break it, let's encourage that person to break it.
Okay, before I let you go, Mr. Chukwu, let me get your alternative advice to these POS operators, because I really feel for them at this point in time. You know, they may not, some of them may not be meeting their daily financial targets because they will be facing hard times going by this policy. What advice would you have for them?
One of the things I said to them is that they have to be ingenious. They have to think through how to work within the new policy. I mentioned the issue of possible use of cards, and if you remember very well, airtime used to be vended by means of card and later vouchers. Okay, and that voucher actually contained money in terms of airtime, and at some point people could actually buy vouchers and use vouchers to convert to cash, if you can recall.
Yeah.
So you have voucher and say, look, I have this voucher, give me this voucher is 1,000 naira voucher, give me 950 naira, and the person will take the voucher. So I also think Nigerians are very ingenious, they are very creative, and I believe the POS operators have to think through, think of ways and alternative channels that they can use to sustain their businesses. One of which could be to migrate to issuance of vouchers. Okay, so that those vouchers are within the limits of the cash withdrawal limit, and those vouchers, possibly, if they integrate whatever they're doing with the banks, can be cash in banks or also cash in other POS facilities.
Okay, let me sincerely thank you, Mr. Johnson Chukwu, a financial expert and the managing director of Kari Asset Management. Thank you so much for speaking with us on the platform this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, it's time for us to open the phone lines. We are discussing the Central Bank of Nigeria policy, which imposed fresh cash withdrawal limits on individuals and organizations, which will become effective on January 9, 2023. Like you heard my guest say there, it's aimed at making sure that politicians do not have enough money to induce voters ahead of 2023 election. Call us at 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. You can also send messages on our Facebook page. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Vinegar.
Good morning, welcome.
Who say my name is the name? I'm calling you from Mumbai.
Welcome, go ahead.
I guess they're still online.
No, he's gone.
Okay, sir. My brother, the kind of policies that the government of today is making is not helping issue. It's not helping issue, irrespective of the party or whatever. They're just impoverishing poor masses. I mean, the Central Bank of Nigeria and the worst part of it, the presidency and Mr. President wouldn't have anything to do with all these unnecessary policies that these guys are making. Because federal government is doing their own policies, these people are still doing their own policies. But when they want to borrow money, they won't bring out any policies that will hinder them from not to borrow money. And the National Assembly will encourage them to go and be borrowing. Look at how they are intentionally decided to impoverish the poor masses that you refuse to provide jobs for them. They started doing some businesses. All these things that you are saying, that you talk about going to the rural area. How are they going to cope? You just brought out something, you said that it's going to start manifesting in 9th of January. It's not even up to a month now.
Yeah.
You talk about the currency reservation. Nothing has happened to it. It has no positive effect on the life of every common masses that are finding it very difficult to acquire 1 square meter a day. Under your watch, APC is a scam as far as I'm concerned. They have been published.
All right, thank you.
I'm waiting for this nation today.
Right.
Look at us, look at all of us here. And they
Thank you.
continue after 2023. I said God forbid.
All right, thank you so much, Hussein Manode, quite passionate there. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Enoch.
Welcome.
My honor, the reason for the policy has come to the people buying and correcting taxes transactions is for us to discourage nothing ransom. But unfortunately, they need to know as well as the desperate criminals resort to killing their victims. The government should rather fight the criminals and their sponsors politically. The policy will definitely affect the economy adversely.
Many people do not know their left from their right when it comes to internet services, and they do not have the devices for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, beautiful good morning, Chief Correspondent, Mr. Vinegar. You are highly blessed.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you guys for the thing from the river in E1. I think going by your virtual speaker analysis, I think he asked a question there. With what he was saying, seems like the hardship that the masses are experiencing is supposed to be referred to politicians, our leaders. It was like a downgraded by saying it's a tango something. It's a case of the individual and the government. I don't believe that, because if you look at the policies that are coming out from the federal government, it seems like they are confronting people to the policy whereby it can be easy for the masses to operate on or to make up the day. So, but in the other sense, if the electronic transaction will be established, I think the people living at the rural area, they have to be sensitized. Number one, two, they have to map out a way whereby it will be easy way to run. Then POS people, I know you're going to hit them, you're going to affect them, but the time frame is something I'm checking from now to January 9th. You're not supposed to have been 2 months or 3 months of a thing.
Yeah.
But by that time, it will be easy for them to map out a way in order to sustain their business and how to engage another thing. But the government should know that they are treating masses fairly. Let them do something that will be fairly for people, so that we can be able to work with them. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Don't kiss the guy for real. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
My name is India. I'm from
Go ahead, Igwe.
India.
Okay, Udie. Okay.
This is what idea or new policy that is by 9th of January. It is a very, very welcome idea. The development that people used to say. Anyone that is having it yet to know the new way of living. This policy will help to minimize this issue of kidnapping.
Okay.
It also help to minimize this issue of rigging the forthcoming election. That aside, it will make everybody to be useful to himself or herself. Those people will not understand the real meaning of it, but by next year, we see how it might be developed from consumption to production. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning,
Good morning. Welcome. Welcome, Chinedum. Go ahead.
Okay, let me just put this straight that whatever it will cost us to get it right, let us do. Nigerians have been suffering and Nigerians have been sacrificing. Since it is targeted to get accurate and good leadership for this nation, my dear, let us endure it. It has been there, and politicians have always leveraged on the poverty of the people to deceive them. During this time, you have psychopaths who will make money from politics. And this time, let every policy that will be put in place so that we can get good leadership. Nigerians have suffered hell in the face of colossal leadership failure. Let us get it right. It won't kill anybody. God will help us to survive it, and we will get good leadership and bounce back in this nation. Nigeria must certainly be great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, the guests in the house.
Go ahead.
I am Dr. Pendaga. My name is Adam Ahad from Brazil. I'm from His Excellency, Dr. Alex Otis. Mr. Speaker, the new policy bringing by EBM is a welcome development. One, because of vote buying, because of those in power and carry money from here to here. All the government in power, they pursue money like somebody they pursue corn. Why would they pursue corn? Mr. Speaker, if the policy of the CBN will stand, I would like, because those in power are keeping money they use to buy election during the election period.
Okay.
I would like this to continue to solve this problem. Let everybody go and collect the PVC, don't allow any government in power
Okay.
to distract the attention of people.
All right.
By 2023.
Okay.
And next week, we be the governor.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
Good morning. Kindly move away from your radio set, please.
Yes, I am not back now.
Okay. What's your name?
My name is Chief Emoba. I'm calling from Africa.
Okay.
The policy of the CBN to me is good. Politicians are always afraid of changes. Those who are condemning the present federal government for doing what they are doing, they are just using any little opportunity they use it to condemn the government, even when the government is doing it right. To me, they have not even looked forward to see the benefits that is going to come from this policy. They use it to say, federal government will publish, federal government publish. That's wrong. Wait and see the outcome of the policy. The good side of the policy is even better than what they are thinking of now. So that's my own view.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Chief. The numbers again to call are 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. We're actually looking at the Central Bank of Nigerian policy, which imposed fresh cash withdrawal limits on individuals and organizations, which will become effective on January 9th, 2023. Hello? Kindly move away from your radio set. Okay, maybe you just move away from your radio set or turn it down, then you can call us back. So that's the situation. Let us check our Facebook page. This one, okay, let's pick this call then. Okay, this one is coming from Ezeka Elvis, who has said, good morning. For me, according to him, he said, for me, the CBN new policy is a welcome development, but it will affect a whole lot of activities during this festive and Yuletide season. We just hope it doesn't plunge our already mismanaged economy into further damages. May God help us all. Thank you so much, Ezeka Elvis. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Move away from your radio set.
I'll do that.
I'm still getting a hold back.
Hello.
Go ahead. What's your name?
I'm from Locust.
Okay, go ahead.
I listened to your analyst. He makes some heartwarming submissions there, especially concerning the political advantage of within this policy. But my friend, that the same people, this very policy is being against. We are not with them now about the pay. They can afford the taxes that is required to, still give this money back into the business to the media, the police and the whole plan of both sides. At the end of the day, this is supposed to be something that will benefit the average common Nigerian family that world. They still have to agree to 75 million good and all important police. So at the end, I don't even see us being in the way. I just running around the circle. Honestly, yes, the 9 is just tomorrow. And elections is about a month or so after the January.
Yeah.
The term is okay, but then it cannot really benefit those who it's meant to be benefit, honestly. That's just my take. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Like the CBN said, the Central Bank of Nigeria, they said the fresh cash withdrawal limits on individual and organization will become effective on January 9, 2023, According to that memo, individuals will be able to withdraw 100,000 naira per week from over-counter and point-of-sale machine or automated teller machine, the one we call ATM, while organization can access 500,000 naira per week. According to the memo, banks are directed to load only 200 and lower denomination into their ATM. This means Nigeria will only be able to withdraw 20,000 naira per day from ATMs when the directives come about. Let's take this final call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. This is Victor Aboje.
Okay. Where are you calling us from?
The CBN governor is from my state.
And where is your state?
Eka Northeast Local Government Area of Delta State.
Is that where you are calling us from now?
I am calling you from Abia State.
Okay, go ahead.
Fine. You see what the policy they are investing on.
Can you move away from your radio set? Move away from your radio set, please. Or you turn it down, the volume.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, whatever he is trying to do will not help Nigerians. Definitely, it is trying to cause more hardship on the Nigerians. I'm a civil servant. Definitely, if my salary is being paid as 120,000, you expect me on a normal circumstances to withdraw 100,000 naira in a day. What will I do with the remaining one? I will wait, which is 20,000 naira in a day. That is it. So you should go back to the drawing board and make sure all these things are being corrected. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, I think that's where we're going to leave it. Like this policy, yes, so many people, and even my analyst said there, that is going to discourage vote buying by politicians during election. Agreed. But then again, what about those people that are earning little money from the point of sale, that is POS, here and there? What will be their fate? I think the government should consider that. Well, that's the situation here on Flow 94.9 FM, the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. My name is Ginika Olwaha. Sincere thanks to Stanko and Wheezy for helping out. Thank you so much. And to all of you who called in and who send in your messages, God bless you. We'll come back again on Friday at 10 a.m. Like I said, my name is Ginika Olwaha. I'll see you again. Good morning.